What is going on, guys? I just got back from Lowe's, picked up some sheet metal. I can't see it through there, but I'm gonna pull the car into the garage and we're gonna work on like a little intake box for cool air. And yeah, this is 22 gauge weldable steel plate. So I plan on making like an intake airbox, kind of like what it comes with factory. Hopefully I can drop intake air temperatures by a significant amount once the engine is hot. So I think that is what today's project is going to be. So I went ahead and pulled the air filter off of the car so I can kind of lay down some plate and see where I want it. So basically I think I will just have a plate that covers this whole thing, and then I'll just make some walls and then put some of this kind of sealer stuff on the top just so it seals up against the hood. I think I will start by just laying, I'm gonna have to cut about 3 or 4 inches off of this, but just laying a piece down and seeing how I want to cut it and where I want it to rest. And I think I'm going to use that little nut location right there for it to bolt down on, and then I'll probably just have it like hang off of the battery box or something for the second mounting location, and then we'll have the hole drilled in it so the intake tube can go through and the filter can sit inside of it, and it'll just be held on by that. Hopefully this piece is short enough now. Yeah, so now I just have to cut it width-wise. Okay, so I went ahead and made some cuts to that first plate of steel, and this is how it sits right now. I do think I want to sink it in, so if I do some bends, so bend here, make like a relief cut here, and then also follow the shape of the intake pipe a little bit more of an angle, and then bend that piece up, and then I can bring the 2 pieces from the relief cut and weld them together, and then the whole thing will sink in a little bit more, and then hopefully it'll run just how the intercooler pipe runs, and then it'll give the air filter just a little bit more room. And I might have to get a little bit smaller of a filter to be running this setup, but I would rather have cool air going into the engine any day, so that is no issue for me. But I'm going to make those cuts and see where it gets me. It might work, it might not, but it's worth trying out, so we'll see. So I made marks on this metal sheet according to what the intake pipes look like, and then I went ahead and bent them in, is that a vise? That's a vise, right? Yeah, so I went ahead and bent them in this little red vise. It doesn't reach all the way around this just because it's such a big piece of metal, but I did get the initial bends, and this is basically what it will look like. I'm gonna have to do some tweaking to get it sitting a little bit deeper, but it does just kind of fall right into place. I am hitting on this battery cable here, the ground. Got to make sure I don't cut into that or anything. And then also this intake little clamp is in the way as well as that other one. So I'm going to move those clamps around, and then we will see where this sits, and then I have to do a little bit of trimming and kind of clean up. Okay guys, so it has been a lot of trial and error. Not really too much error, a lot of trial and kind of figure out what I'm doing. So the air filter usually just sat in there, kind of right at the corner piece right there, and just kind of hung out, absorbing all of that hot air because there's zero airflow going to it. So it was literally just sucking hot air. So with this, I will show you guys what I did first before I put it in. So I made the flat piece you guys saw. I did some cuts to the normal sheet, and then I went ahead and kind of traced what the intake tubes make, that triangle right there. So I traced that, or kind of eyeballed it, and then bent accordingly, made like a relief cut in the corner, so it could flex in different directions. So I bent each of the edges up, and then I went ahead with the flap disc and rounded this out just to kind of account for the intercooler coupler that is right there. And then notched this so it would not touch on the battery ground cable, and then kind of notched this just so it would accommodate this pipe a little bit better than it does. So it sits in there just like a tray. This is as deep as I can get it at the moment. The restricting point is right here, so if I notched this and brought it a little bit further up, the whole thing would sit a little bit further down in, and then I would also have to just notch this piece as well. It is actually in there pretty good, and it makes the engine bay look a whole lot cleaner, just having a plain metal tray there. So everything is coming along pretty good. I think I'm going to call it quits right there. I'm happy with how it's going so far. It's going to be a little bit more of a project than I thought. I thought I could kind of get it done in one night, but that is definitely not the case. So yeah, the goal is to have a functioning cooler air intake. So this will be where the air filter sits in this little area. I'm going to bend this back and then put some other sheet metal, tack it on, and then bend it kind of around the blow-off valve, and then have the walls come up around this area, and then have it seal off on the hood so everything stays nice and cool. And then to get the cool air to the box, I'm going to use this vent right here. Normally Jetta grills have like a piece that comes across. It has little holes drilled through it as well, but I just cut it all the way out on both sides, just so I can get maximum airflow through these vent pieces. But to get the air into the intake, I am going to use some more of this sheet metal. If I have enough, I can just go to the hardware store if not. But I'm going to make a duct that comes from inside of this little intake right here, travels around, and it will just be like a flat sheet metal piece kind of covering this area to make it look a little bit cleaner. So it's going to come around, up, and then into the intake. So we'll have some nice cool air, and it will also make the engine bay look a lot cleaner. So that is the plan, and I think it should come together pretty nicely as long as I kind of keep at it and keep working on it. So thank you guys for the positive support on the last few videos. I do want to keep making videos for you guys a lot more consistent. It's getting a little bit more fun now that we have a space to work in that's lit and heated. It makes working on the car so much easier and so much more desirable, I guess I could say. So thank you guys for watching this video, even though it was kind of short and didn't get much done. But this intake box will be cool, I promise. When we get it done, it'll be cool. So yeah, peace out guys.